Hey, this is Mark Friedman from Tulip, and I'm really excited to share with you one of my favorite applications. It's Kanban is the use case. So for those who aren't familiar with Kanban, it's industry standard material replenishment system, where basically, the simplest version of it is you have two bins, and when you empty one bin, you turn in a card and start consuming from the next bin. And by the time you finish that second bin, the first one will have returned to you. So you have these simple cards, usually just printed out, laminated, attached to bins. And essentially when you consume one, or when you open it, or however you decide you want to do it, but when you consume one, you hand that card to the supplier. The supplier sees the production order. I'm going to be producing 100 pieces or whatever. And it's a really great way of keeping your material replenishment system sort of autonomous. And it's just a great tool. I love it, and Tulip is a great way. You can use Tulip to actually do this because managing cards and managing Kanban can be frustrating. So anyway, I want to show you a Tulip application that does this. Really exciting. You can download this from the library. You can start using it right away. Let me show you really simply what it might look like from an execution standpoint. So you could have this is an example of a supermarket terminal. Just put simply a screen like a tablet in your supermarket. So you have a rack, bins, organize these things, print off labels. I'll show you how to make Kanban cards in a second. But basically, you stick this up there, and all the person on the floor has to do is scan a Kanban card. Now here, I don't have a scanner attached, so I'm just going to type it in. You scan it, and look, it says the bin is full. So what do you want to do? I want to empty it. Cool. So that's all they have to do. Super simple. And that's one of the things that makes Kanban such a beautiful process is, like, from an execution standpoint, it couldn't be any easier. Organize your materials. If it's empty, scan it. When it comes back, you type it, you press it in here, and you press receive, and now the bin's full. And that's it. It's super easy to roll out and use, and it sets up your value stream in a really nice way for success. And then you can continuously improve these Kanban sizing, the Kanban sizing, so that you have even less inventory in your system. And you optimize for your lead time. So really great stuff. That's how that works. So let's talk about other ways you can manage this. So configuring Kanbans. Here you can see I have these 5 different Kanban loops. Super easy to go in and create a new loop. So if I want to create a loop here, I'll just say part 002. The department, let's just say test department. And then we'll say test supplier. So, this might be your machine shop. If you're an assembly area, this could be the machine shop that's feeding it, or it could be like a molding cell or something of this nature. And then location is literally the location that the bins are going to be in. So this is like a rack number or something, or a position in the supermarket. And then you type in your daily usage. So let's say my daily usage is like 200. And my safety stock, I want 2 days of safety stock. My lead time is maybe 3 days. And I want to have just 2 bins, so 2 cards. Let me calculate my quantity. Okay, it calculates it for me. So this is kind of a nice tool. If I knew, for example, that I could only hold 500 or something, and I wanted to calculate my cards, it would calculate my cards for me. So it's doing a little bit of rounding here, but it's just a neat little tool for you to use. Then you just press save, and what it's going to do is create these cards. So you'll see here, boom, boom, boom. I've created my cards, and now I can use these in my system. So Kanban 6-1 is 1 card. You can have this print off some stuff, but this is available at your supermarket now. You can also look at it this way. So maybe you want to request material. You can see all of your Kanbans here. You can click on it and then just make a request. This is a little bit more of a complicated looking screen, so you don't want to necessarily show this to everybody, but for a planner, it might be really nice just at a glance to see all your Kanbans, or like a line leader or someone who's interested in this. Similarly, for receiving materials, you can see which are open. And then if you're a supplier, right, so the machine shop side of this or the supplier side, they can see the open requests and they can put them in progress. They can mark this one for delivery, for example. And all the while we're doing this, let me switch over to the editor real quick. This is using 3 tables, but a really important table is the material request table, which is basically showing you all of the requests. And what you can see here is it's keeping track of when it was requested, when was it started, when was it completed, when was it updated, when's it due. And all that information is automatically generated by your Kanban configuration and the interactions people have with it. But over here you have just really basic numbers. What was my actual lead time? Really important when doing Kanban sizing. What's my actual lead time? It's calculated here for you. What's my queue? How long was it in processing? How was it in delivery for? And then finally, just like an OTD, was it delivered on time or not? And you'll see that how that shows up in our Kanban board. Other tables I'll show you. One is the Kanban configuration. So this is just the loops. This is like a plan for every part, or PFEP. Basically, what is the ID? What is the item, department, location, supplier, lead time? All these sorts of things here are important for you to just have a list of that. And then finally, your Kanban cards. So every individual card is recognized as a individual line here, and it changes its status over time. So that's how that piece works. Finally, I'll show you, so you've seen configuring, you've seen the terminal and the supermarket, you've seen the supplier terminal, right? And then you have these two, which is just request and receiving, but just a little more complicated to look at. Maybe you want to see this, maybe you don't. It's doing the same thing as a supermarket terminal. But like, for example, I could click here, I could receive this delivered part just right here by pressing receive. And it's going to do the exact same thing that the supermarket terminal would have done. And then finally, the Kanban board, which is just a little dashboard. It shows you I have 0 past due, I've got 1 open, 0 stockouts, none past due. Here's my 1 open one. Here's my OTD, so 100% OTD so far today, and no stockouts. Now, what's a stockout? Well, if you were to request material of the same part, like if I clicked on this and requested it, now both of these Kanbans in this loop are empty, which means that the supermarket is empty, right? So that's a stockout. When you look at the Kanban board, I should see 1 stockout. It should tell me which one it is. So maybe you still have some material in your assembly system, but this is a message of urgency kind of. If you have a stockout, you probably need to expedite whatever orders are going through your machine shop. And if they're not due today, then something happened. Someone forgot to turn a tag. Who knows what's going on, but you need to probably address this. So a really helpful tool to help you manage this. I'm really excited to release this into the library. Thanks.